Hey, it's me again. Now, I'm sorry if my 2 o'clock one was a bit heavy-handed, but I had to discuss something, so um, I decided to get the kind of horrid stuff out of the way first. About religion and death, and. So at the moment, there's a nice picture of me. As you probably can't see it, which is annoying. Uh, at the moment, it's 3:01, 3 o'clock in the morning, basically, and the whole idea of philosophy and death kind of got me in the idea of what it is to believe something. And one of the questions was, what do you love the most? And one of the things I absolutely love is reading haruhi suzumiya novels. Um, anything to do with the franchise. It's a franchise of anime, manga, novels, that sort of thing. And honestly, this is the first book, and the prologue actually really well defines what it is to believe in something, like about um, just like about general belief and stuff. And while it's about espers and all that sort of thing, I think it's a really interesting read. So I thought I'd read the prologue for you for this 3 o'clock one. Prologue. The question of how long someone believed in Santa Claus is a worthless topic that would never come up in idle conversation. Having said that, if you're going to ask me how much of my childhood I spent believing in an old man in a red suit, I can confidently say that I never believed in him to begin with. I knew that the Santa at the preschool Christmas pageant was just a fake. Digging into my memories, I'm pretty sure that the other kids watching our principal dressed up as Santa didn't think he was that real either. I was a precocious child who didn't need to see Mummy kissing Santa Claus to question the existence of an old man who only works one day a year. However, I wouldn't realise that aliens, time travellers, ghosts, demons, espers, and evil organisations and the heroines that battle them in cartoons, monster movies, and comics were made up until some time later. No, I had probably already realised the truth, I just didn't want to admit it. Deep in my heart, I wish that aliens, time travellers, ghosts, demons, evil organisations, or espers might just pop up in front of me one day. Compared to the ordinary world I wake up in every morning, the worlds depicted in cartoons, monster movies, and comics have a certain charm to them. I wished I could have been born into one of those worlds. Saving a girl who's been kidnapped by aliens and imprisoned within a huge transparent pea shell, repelling a laser-wielding time traveller trying to change history armed with only my courage and wits. Taking out evil spirits and demons with a single incantation, engaging in psychic battles with espers from a secret organisation, those are the kinds of things I truly wanted to do. Wait a minute, assuming that aliens, etc. were to actually exist and attack without having any particular special powers, I would have no way to do battle with them. So I did some brainstorming. A mysterious transfer student suddenly arrives in my class one day. That student turns out to be actually an alien or time traveller or something else along those lines with unknown powers. Then the student happens to be fighting against some evil gang and I was just getting caught up in that fight. The other student is the main one doing the fighting, I'm just a sidekick. Hey, that sounds cool. Damn, I'm smart. Or how about this? I'll just go with Sunny waking up one day with special powers, telepathy, psychokinesis, all alike. It turns out there are a bunch of other people with special powers. Naturally, there are organisations recruiting such people. Members of a heroic organisation come for me and I end up joining them in their battle against evil espers seeking world domination. However, reality is a rather cruel world. Fact is, no one had ever transferred into my class. I'd never seen a UFO, going to all the local haunted spots did nothing in terms of ghosts and demons. Staring intently at the pencil on my desk for 2 hours didn't even move it a micron. And I'd be more likely to burn a hole in my head of the guy who's sitting in front of me than to read his mind. You have to admit how well the laws of physics were written, while fighting the urge to laugh at yourself. At some point I stopped being glued to the TV watching specials on UFOs and stories about psychics. They couldn't possibly exist, though I kind of wish they did. I figured my ability to hold on to my convictions while accepting reality was the sign that I'd matured. When I graduated from middle school, I also graduated from these childish dreams and became used to the normalcy of the world. 1999 was my last hope, and it wasn't like anything was going to happen in that year anyway. Damn you, Nostradamus. We reached the 21st century without humankind making it beyond the moon. It looked unlikely that travel to Alpha Centauri and back within a day would happen in my lifetime. Having pushed such thoughts into the corner of my mind, I entered high school without a care in the world, and then I met Haruhi Suzumiya. Now, the point of that, now I know you're wondering how can that relate to anything. The point is that that was all about belief. And what I really think is clever about that is that the belief it's talking about is kind of, while it's not God or anything, it can really relate to religion. It's the idea of, I want it to be true, and therefore I'll believe it, and that him believing that he was just holding on to those beliefs slightly was maturity. And I think it's very intriguing, in the whole aspect of religion and stuff, that something like that can actually hold such meaning. I mean, this is life and day, and this is documenting everything in life, so we might as well save as much as we can, even if it's just one chapter of one lovely book, then I'll save it. But, what do I love the most? I love video games, I love anime, I love books, and that was one of them, and it kind of answers that question. But what is important, that I love to speculate on these things, and I believe that that is so well written, simply because it really analyses our beliefs. It really shows us, a kind of sense of, is it that it is true? Is it that we have proof? Or is it that we just really want it to be true, and that we'll sort of grow out of it at some point? And the answer really it's trying to answer there is grow out of it. It really thinks we do. Like, okay, I have a really childish persona. I still have little cuddlies of cats, and there's another one. And yes, I'm childish, I'm a bit of an idiot, I'm 16, I'm still got cuddlies and wearing a Ninja t-shirt that's so many years younger for me. And so what, I'd like to keep that childish persona, but it's interesting that my kind of subconscious mindset, which is to like cuddlies and to like childish things, doesn't match with my maturity, and that my maturity as a person and also my intelligence as a person is probably much higher than that of the brain set that I use in general life. And I think that kind of has a sort of idea about that, in which that kind of keeping on to childishness is, and maturing is sort of a phase, and that, do you ever mature out of it? Do you always have that subconscious belief? And a lot of that story that comes later on is actually about some people actually still maintain subconscious beliefs, but some people actually have subconscious beliefs against it, even if they think it does exist. Like, they believe also how well the laws of physics are written. And I really just thought it'd be nice to share that little book with you, because that's only the prologue. It's a wonderful book. I really recommend buying it. But it's really interesting just to see the philosophy of that. And I mean, you can look at me. I mean, I do not look 16. I will admit it now. I'm wearing a t-shirt which is so many years younger than me. I'm wearing shorts, for God's sake. I'm reading little books, and I think it's, and look, I mean, come on, how can you call me looking over 16 if I'm holding something like this? Just or something like that. And it's interesting that age doesn't match up. Like, a lot of people think age really means everything. Like, responsibility comes at a certain age. But remember that age is just a measurement. Age is just a measurement of how many times I have been round the sun. I have been round the sun 16 times. So there you go, I'm 16 years old. Now, actually that's quite interesting, because what if someone got a ship and flew around twice by the time he got one? Would he be 2 years older, or would he be 1 year older? It's a kind of interesting thing, because a day is just how long it takes our Earth to rotate. And this is life in a rotation, in a sense, as much as it is life in a day, because it is just one rotation. So by the time I finish all these videos, I will have pretty much done a 360-degree axis around the Earth. But that's interesting, because is it possible to go back in time? Because time isn't existent. It is just a measurement. And that's interesting, because can you go back through a measurement? You can't go, back in distance or anything, because it's like you can go back in distance, but the distance is always there. The distance was always there, shall always be there. And that's the interesting thing about that. Are we just measuring life in a day, or is life in a day truly something like memorable, something like that? And I think it's interesting to actually work on. So, you know, I, I've been around the sun 16 times. Does that make me mature, or does that just make me a guy who's been around the sun 16 times? And I really like the idea that age versus maturity. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like the book. It's just a nice little book to read. And yeah, honestly, am I mature? Because I'm holding a cuddly. It's true. I've just been around the sun 16 times. It doesn't make me a responsible person. That's kind of interesting. So, thank you for watching, and see you in an hour, I guess.